cmpradio.net, man. You already know it's your boy Uncle P. And we are here for another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations. I know, right? I've been doing this. I've been saying I was going to do this for the past, year? Right? Uncomfortable conversation coming. You know, I broke down a couple topics, but I never really wanted to do it, by myself. I don't like doing things by myself, right? I was looking for a co-host. I was looking for somebody that can share in the information as we just give you pointers. We're not here to tell anybody what they should do. We're just here to say how things would work if we were to look at ourselves and our partners in a loving situation, right? You get me? Uncomfortable conversations. We're going to touch on a ton of topics. We working. I'm trying to tell you, we working over here, man. It's cmpradio.net. So go ahead, like the page, follow the page. Hit me up, man. You want a podcast? Come on, man. Let's do it. Let's get it done. But without further ado, I will introduce my co-hosts.
Hi, everybody.
Say that again.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I am Drea B. You know, my government name is Andrea Brown, but I'm going to go by Drea B while I'm on this podcast.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's get it done. Man, I'm excited to have you. I thank you. Number one, for even coming through here and doing this, right? You were a guest on the show, Straight Like That, with me and Mike Martin.
Facts.
Came back. We did an uncomfortable conversation, just me and you.
Yeah.
Right? Nice conversation. Where we talked about shadow work.
Yeah, that was like an intense, conversation. It was good, though.
It was.
Really good.
It was very good. But now we're moving forward with uncomfortable conversations. This show will air every Tuesday. Every other Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Come on. Every Tuesday. 7:30, right? Until we're done. That's just how it works, man. I want to thank you for stopping through. Today we're talking about attachment styles and childhood trauma. How your past shapes the way you love. You love friends. You love work. You love your partner, right? All these different things are affected by your attachment styles, right? What are you attached to, right? What type of energy do you give off when you do that? What do you think of when you think of attachment styles?
So pretty much I feel like attachment styles goes back to like how you connect with people. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm all on this tip of connection without attachment. Right. That's the vibe I'm on. But, as we dive deep into this topic, hopefully everybody walks away having a better, acknowledgement of their attachment styles, because attachment, if you don't know your attachment style, it definitely can negatively impact your relationships platonically or romantically. Right. So we about to give y'all some info.
Right. So attachment styles are an emotional blueprint that shape the way we love, trust, and like Andrea said, or Drea B, I'm sorry, like Drea B said, connect with others. The things that you dealt with as a child, the way your parents loved you, the way they talked to you, right? That says a lot about your attachment styles. And we have at least, four?
Yep.
4 attachment styles, right? And we're going to break down those attachment styles and their roots in childhood trauma, right? Now, if you identify with any of these attachment styles, I'm not saying, you're wrong, right? I'm not saying you're right. Because I identify with a couple of these joints. And that's a part of growth, man. That's a part of understanding who you are, is being able to say, I identify with that, right? So we're going to jump into the attachment styles. We're going to break them down. We're going to talk a little bit about them. And like I said, we're not throwing darts at anybody. We're not saying you are this way and that's the way. No. If you identify, if you wholly, solely, just you, own it, and say, yo, I identify with this. This is what I relate to. This is how I operate. This is what I like. Cool. I'm trying to tell you, go check your therapist out. Go find a therapist. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody who's not your best friend, who's not just telling you the right or wrong answer because they're benefiting from it, right? They're telling you the right or wrong answer because they care, right? Oh, how does a therapist care? Well, they care about you. They want you to be a healthy, loving individual, right? So uncomfortable conversations.
I want to interject real
Go
quick.
ahead, do your thing.
Too.
Do your thing.
You cannot heal what you don't reveal. So that's the bar right there. So again, my goal is to always empower others, and if anything, when I'm on this podcast, I'm going to have my moments where I'm being vulnerable because I want to help people, because I had to literally pretty much go through all of these attachment styles, and the goal is to be secure attached, like a secure attachment, like you don't have any toxic attachments. You are secure within yourself. That is the goal, but we're going to get to it.
We're going to definitely get into it. So let's start at the bottom, man. We're going to start with a fearful avoidant, a disorganized attachment.
Can I talk about that one?
Go ahead.
So, out of all the attachment styles, that is the most complicated one, to be honest, from my point of view, because it's like you want connection, but you have that hyper independence. You don't trust people. So you like the disorganized, fearful attachment style. That's the hardest one to kind of heal and evolve from, to be honest. It's very challenging, to say the least. And I think I dealt with that one too.
Right. So that develops in childhoods with neglect, abuse, and unpredictable caregivers. Understand, when people say you got that from your mama, they mean it. You got that from your daddy, they mean it, right? How you grow up, how you're loved, how your parents talk to you, the way they treated you, the way they showed up, right? That basically leads into you being an adult that's scared of this, so you love this way. I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm going to love low. You feel me? So no matter what you do, you can't disappoint me. You feel me? As adults, they struggle with trusting others. They switch between craving intimacy and pushing it away, and they fear abandonment and rejection, right? Now, my mom and dad, they love me. When my dad was alive, man, they loved me, and they tried to give me everything that I required. My dad was real strict. He didn't let me outside. I was in the house. I was reading books. I was always doing something. My mom was loving. My mom was there. And my dad died. And my mother, who was affected by my dad's death, I'm not going to say she was absent, because she wasn't absent. She was still there, but she wasn't the same person, right? So I don't know. I'm fearful of people leaving me. I have abandonment issues, right, from the rip. So I will constantly do whatever's necessary to keep you here. I will keep you right next to me. I'll keep you all up underneath of me. I'll give you everything. I'll pour everything into it, no matter what you're doing, because I want you to love me, right? So I don't know if that's the fearful avoidant, right? We got a bunch of them, man. But understanding your attachment style is important, right? So when you're dealing with the fear of abandonment and rejection, you're constantly trying to please your partner. You're constantly doing too much sometimes.
Also, with that fearful avoidant, you have a hard time trusting. So think about we all have somebody in our lives that's hyper independent, and you think, yeah, I'm just independent, I'm just strong. It's nothing wrong with being strong, but if you're hyper independent, most likely you had some trauma that caused you to be that way. You don't trust people. You I can't depend on people. I know I can depend on myself. So you find yourself in situations where you when people want to extend their hand to you, or you find people that really want to connect with you, you can't even trust yourself, because you're I'm used to being let down. So I can't even connect with you. I can't even bang with you like that, because I don't trust. And this is how we sabotage relationships, not just romantic ones, platonic ones. You know, because all connections are based off of trust. So if, you know, you think that you're like that fearful, you know, the fearful avoidant attachment one, you really might want to like dive into that, do some research, not just listen to this podcast. And even if you need to go to a therapist, like I've been to therapy off and on over the years, probably started back in, it was probably in the 90s when I first went to therapy. But I would say I took a little break. Then I went back in like 2011, off and on over the years. So I'm definitely an advocate for therapy.
Abandonment and loss leads to this fearful, avoidant attachment. I am so scared that you're going to leave me. I am so scared that you're going to abandon me. I just do. I just give. And I give despite what I might need, right? And that's something that my therapist brought to me, and he said, well, you got to fix you, right? You know, you're out here trying to fix other people, and you're doing for other people, and you want people to love you, and you want people to be around you, and you want people not to worship the ground I walk on, but just stay around me. Just love me. Like, if I have an idea and I think it can go far, like, let me know it's a good idea, right? Believe in me. Even if you don't think it's a good idea, believe in me, right? And I guarantee you I'm going to turn that idea into a pot of gold, right? And that's just how I feel, right? So for me, I am a fearful avoidant, right? I don't run from relationships. I try to stay in a relationship as long as I possibly can. And if it don't work, well, then that's it. And it could be the end of my life when I figure out it wasn't working, right? So I'm telling people now to understand your attachment style, right? If you are a fearful avoidant, you're craving love but fearing loss. Craving love but fearing loss. You do not attach to anyone securely, right? And this is what we're talking about, attaching, right? Your attachment styles. How do you attach to people? You don't attach to anyone securely because you're scared that they're going to leave you. You're scared that they're going to pull away. You're scared that they're going to do something. So I think throughout my life, I've had to deal with that in the ways that I love. So recently, you know, going to therapy and understanding how I need to change that, I began to change. I began to not put so much stock on someone leaving, right? They say you're either here for a season or a reason. You feel me? And now when people leave, I say, all right, they was here for a reason. I learned something from them. You can learn something from the worst pain you ever felt, as long as you go back and look inside that pain and look inside yourself and say, all right, what did I learn here? You have to ask those questions of yourself. Anything you want to add to that?
I'm just kind of breezing through the attachment styles, and I'm just thinking about like just situations. So I want to dive into anxious attachment.
Okay.
So anxious attachment is like when you never feel secure. Like you, like, say for instance, you're in a relationship and you text this person at 10:10, and if they didn't text you back in 5 minutes, you're like, oh my God, are they not going to text me? Are they going to ghost me? Like, you're all in your head. Like, you're constantly needing, or you constantly need reassurance. We all want to, you know, be affirmed. We all want connection, but it's like when you constantly like crave, like, if this person doesn't do this when you feel that they should do this, like, you're anxious about it.
Right.
And that is very unhealthy. And that could make people be like, oh my God, you're weird. Like, you're clingy. Because a lot of people with anxious attachment, you know, it happens from childhood, you know, but they really clingy. And this is the thing, it's real unfortunate because it's like, if you don't know your attachment style, like, people, it can make things really complicated because, you know, your love languages are kind of often determined by your, you know, your attachment style. But I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I have struggled with every single one. The anxious attachment style, the avoidant dismissive attachment style, you know, and the fearful avoidant attachment style. I've been all of them. And now I'm proud to say that I am secure, but I had to do a lot of work to get to that place.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So I think with, like I said, fearful avoidant, you're scared. The next is avoidant attachment. I don't like depending on others. I keep my guard up, right? Now, that can say that you're strong, right? I can do this. I don't need anyone, right? I don't like calling out to other people. I also felt that. You feel me? And that comes from, you feel me, from caregivers were emotionally unavailable, dismissive, or expected too much independence from you, right? You were allowed to do things on your own. You were allowed to raise your brothers and sisters. You were allowed to do all this stuff. I'm not saying anybody's parents was bad. Understand that first and foremost, right? I'm just giving you a scenario that could lead to you feeling that way, right? As adults, we struggle with emotional vulnerability. Like, and I know as a man, right, we say, man, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm good. Just you saying that is letting me know that there's something wrong, right? Or could be wrong with your attachment style. The women that you attach to, right? The things that you attach to, right? The jobs that you attach to. All of that can be because you are an avoidant. You're avoiding the real reason, right? While you're attaching to these things, and it gets tricky.
You just made me think of something. Like, if you, for instance, if you're always attracting dismissive people, avoidant people, emotionally unavailable people, if you don't heal the root, you will run into the same person in a different body every single time. You know, and it's really unfortunate. A lot of people are walking around, they're just like, dang, like I keep on running into this same situation. You will continue to run into certain situations if you don't heal the root. And a lot of people don't want to unpack their attachment style. A lot of people, like, let's think about this. How many people actually talk about this stuff, like, before they even become friends? Let's not even talk about like a relationship, like romantically, but just friends. We're not talking about this.
Why would we?
We're not.
No.
But if we had these like uncomfortable conversations, like it would give you clarity. It would help you to have more grace. Because again, with each of these attachment styles, it is what it is. It doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're anxious. It doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're an avoidant, dismissive person. Even if you're the fearful, disorganized one, you're not a bad person with either of the attachment styles, but you always want to strive for secure. Because at the end of the day, you want to be sure about yourself, secure within yourself, that you're not like depending on other people for validation. And with some of these attachment styles, it's like, if you're not getting validated the way you want to or the way you feel you need to, then it's like it sends you in a frenzy. Like, the goal is to be secure and